Who is Randy?
Don't bring anyone mother into this.
Your mom in the fucking stand!
One thing I wanted to ask you about is, so like you're one of the best comedians. You're one of my favorite comics to watch. I love watching you, and you know you always go for it. I feel like the shift in the last, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about this, 5 to 10 years, New York has gotten like so woke about, like, you know what I mean, like as a city. So how often are you doing, like, does it affect stand-up in that you do things because you go for it, like you really go for jokes?
And by the way, we did the Degenerates together.
Yeah,
you guys did
on
Oddball.
Netflix.
We did the Degenerates.
Yeah,
in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And did you
Which
like
you can
it?
watch
Did
on
you like it? It's on Netflix now.
When it came out, like, or the actual taping itself?
The taping. It was
So I thought the crowds were like not that amped up.
No, they were terrible.
For a stand-up like thing, it was like the crowds did feel like they were like subdued for sure.
Yeah, it was terrible.
I mean, it went well. I mean, it was fine. You know,
yeah, it was fine enough.
Good, but it's like, it was funny when you get out. That was one of the shows I went at the end, and you do have those like those feelings. It's always funny when you get that, when you're like, one person does okay, the other person does, or they're funny, but the crowd's like, not going. And you go, let me get out there and change the level of this game. And then you go out there and have the same. And you go, it is the crowd.
Yeah.
You never believe it's the crowd until it happens to you too.
And like, by the way,
the crowd's tired.
I fucking hate the idea that it's never the crowd. I'm not one of the people that subscribes to that.
It's never
like some people who are like, it's never the crowd.
No,
you could always, like, no, that's not true.
It's definitely. Also, I always hated if you're a real comedian and there's a microphone, you'll do it anywhere. Like,
no, not really.
Nope.
One of the biggest bummers I've had is showing up to like just hang out and someone being like, you got to do a spot. And you're like, no, I really don't want to.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't like that either.
Go,
like,
I thought you were a comic. I goes, I am, man. Just like, not tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to hang out.
Like, no.
Or the idea of coming off of like, a lot of shows. So you're like, someone's like, you don't want to do time. You're like, I did 8 hours this week. Like, like I'm
it's
full.
multiple hours. Yeah. So it's funny. It's funny as you're headlining more too, that like the idea of local spots, I do less and less of them, but they are important to some degree.
Yeah, no, they definitely are important. But so I wanted to know, because like I think of a guy that is hilarious, great jokes, goes for it, pushes it. You know what I mean? Like, like what I hate the expression, but like you are, you're edgy, whatever, whatever the expression is. Like you're somebody who I would go to watch because I like that type of comedy.
Right.
So does it happen though? Because I feel like New York is very like really the center of like that's not okay now. Mm-hmm. Do you encounter that a lot at shows?
Do you think it's worse than LA?
I think it's worse. Really? I think LA is way more woke.
Oh, I don't think so. Yeah. In my experience.
Yeah, I think Joe DeRosa said he's getting the fuck out of Dodge because he's like
out of here.
Yeah, because he was just like, it's too. He said he's come down on too much here.
But I think maybe we're spoiled by the store. So maybe.
Oh yeah, the comedy stores are pretty much all I do.
Yeah, New York has been, for sure. I mean, I was surprised to find out at one point somebody told me there is a network of shows that they're calling Safe Space.
I've heard this.
Comedy shows.
I've heard this.
But the concept of that is so mind-blowing to me because like it's just too, like, isn't that subjective?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's what's like safe space to you. So if you go, so what if you go there like, I'm going to a safe space comedy show and the comic does something about divorce and you're like, I just got divorced. Like a person who would go to a safe space comedy show would be like, no, divorce, it's too much. Some people in the audience have been divorced.
Exactly.
And they'll get like that. You're now playing to the people who are watching only to find the reason to hate you.
Right.
It seems very bizarre. It's hard not to give like any time or value to it, but yeah, more so.
You think
LA
Legion
of
though?
Skank stuff, how it's like built up.
But you guys have created a not safe space following. So then people go for fun.
They come exactly for what it is. Yeah, everyone takes it as a joke. I said I was talking to Bert Kreischer about this last night. What's become weird is when people put their thing into you, like you're raging against something for them.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of people, and it's sweet.
Yeah.
I know that, but when they're like, man, say more racist stuff and more sexist things and be more dark and dirty and and it's like. And it's like, fuck these motherfuckers, and you'll show them. And it's just like, I really am just writing things I think are funny.
That's it. Yeah.
I just dick around. Like, it might be about something as benign as buying a car to like, or something as raunchy as whatever. So
yeah, exactly.
It's nothing. I've never done it. Like, I've never written a joke that wasn't like super filthy or whatever. And I've gone like, wow, it's not really on brand. I'm like, I don't know, but I think it's funny. Like, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
It's funny. how much that like safe space and like woke energy has created like these people raging on the other side too for something that's not.
I did a
like, how about just watch what you like and don't watch what you don't.
That's
exactly
podcasts are so popular.
Yeah.
Like what Joey Diaz says when he was here, that people are listening to a wiretap. It's the idea that like this is how people talk behind closed doors.
Yeah.
A lot of us have to pretend to be a lot woker in public.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm serious. And then you get home with your friend, you're like, I don't know what the fuck this pronoun shit is. I don't know what this is. What you're talking about. But you joke about it. I'm not saying you're necessarily hateful.
No, but like
you're just like, what? What is?
But
going
also
on?
part of it too now is the idea that people, people actually are layered and complicated.
Yeah.
But in social media or when people like to analyze things, they just like to go like, what's the thing you said about this? Now I know who you are.
Right.
And when you're like, but that's that was a joke about this. I actually have, a full spectrum of opinions on a lot of things.
Well, there's a lot to be said for like, hey, interview the person. Don't like just take a comic set and start basing everything
on that. I know.
I know it's not a great analogy, but I do think it's similar to like running Edward Norton over the coals for his white supremacist beliefs. Why did you attack that store and go in there with your white supremacist skinhead friends?
Yeah,
like, that was a film.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
I was like, yeah, but I mean, you did it, so you probably also mean it.
Yeah. Exactly. No, it's true. It's true. I just read some review of a comedy show, which I always think it's crazy, but like of like a live show, and the review, the person was somewhat informed, but then they're like, at the root of every comedian's jokes or material is a revelation of how they. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not a revelation of how they must feel. It could just be that's the best joke they could write about that thing. That's it.
And sometimes you have something where it's like, I think most comedy gets explanatory like that though when you're kind of forced to.
Yeah.
Like you wish. Like this hammering, weird direction, off color punchline is just going to get what it deserves, but like you end up making a point because to get that joke to work, you have to now explain to an audience what's okay and why it's just that, and I'm kidding, and you shouldn't be upset. It's bizarre. We have a tie-in to the Degenerates. Actually, was that they asked me to remove one joke, which I thought was crazy.
Isn't that?
The show's called The Degenerates.
Yeah.
I heard about this. I never got to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I know we never. And it was saying the word retard. On the thing.
You used the R word.
Say
right
that.
Now. Sorry, the R word.
You used the R word.
Well, but the point was, whatever the backlash was going to come from, it was such a preemptive strike because I'm saying the joke, particularly that joke.
Yeah,
there was plenty of things in there. I did a joke where I say tranny that got some shit, and they didn't have a problem with that at all. It was that because of the flack that had already come back from it, and I just thought it was because of the joke. I said, but listen, the context of the joke is saying that I understand sensitivity to it, but I didn't mean, it's an explanatory joke that takes the steam off of anybody getting angry at it. And it's and they were still like, yeah, context means literally nothing.
Yeah.
Because all people are going to hear is blah, 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 and then the trigger word.
But isn't that crazy, though?
Yeah. I've said that in the Degenerates thing. I was like, I think it's bizarre that if you're like transgender people should be murdered and they're grotesque abominations, people go, hey, transgender though, at least. That was cool. We gave him the term.
Gave him the right term.
Versus I saying like, I said I've had weird things from like women online that have come to me when I said things online like it's like, maybe it's time for a broad to be in the White House. Might be time for a chick president. They go, broad, chick. It's like, I'm saying you should be the president of the fucking free world.
Just her the one thing.
Like, who gives a I'm also just trying to pick, like, that's how I talk. I try to find, like, the funniest, whether it's trivializing or whatever it is, just trying to be, but it's so weird to be slowed down. But it slows down your day.
Here's the thing. I feel like the thing that, like, I've come to, I don't know, have an opinion on about this is that engaging or entertaining anybody who's like, chick, really? That's the problem. Like,
they're not. They are
like,
the problem.
if you engage it, then
just don't
that's
answer it.
But the problem is, though, when the comedy clubs start coming down from it, though, when they start going like, if you could avoid saying chick or broad,
they don't do that.
No. But I'm saying,
but like, that could be.
It gets like it starts getting like, this club doesn't say this. This club doesn't.
Is it getting? Has it happened?
I don't know how far off it would be. I mean, it depends on the. That's
honestly,
owner to owner also.
That is.
Too. Some owners buckle hard to the
Yeah.
audience, and some are like so comic centric. So
Yeah, there's yeah.
And the comic centric ones sometimes go too far.
But
And they want to be your best friend and also have like a weird
But
they
don't you
fight
think-
for you too hard.
I was thinking, because I posted something today on social media from where my mom's at, where I clearly it's a joke, and I go, psychologists will say the best way to motivate children is through fear and anxiety, and then I do it a bit, and people in the comments are like, oh, well, that's not the right way to do it. Don't you know the DARE program didn't work? It's like, I'm a comedian by trade. Not a child psychologist, dipshit.
Laying factoids on you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But don't you know that?
Was my joke incorrect?
Right, dipshit. But do you think? I think part of that too is people are real. It's really just happening on social media, because prior to that, like you had to write a letter to Comedy Central or whoever, and it's really just a way for somebody to steal your light for a second. Like you've got this funny bit up, and then someone can just write something and like take the energy from what you're doing. It's a way of style sucking. It's
and a bad sign.
Thunder suck.
Yeah, and
You
a
know?
bad sign for where it's going. The Comedy Cell or New York,
Yeah.
man. They called me in one time to sit down and talk with me. It was insane.
About what?
Jeff Ross and Attell were doing bumping mics around the corner. I was watching
Hilarious.
that. They told me they were going to probably bring me on, and the manager of the club comes over and goes, "They, the booker and the owner want to talk to you."
What?
And I go, "What? All right." And I went over, and it was to talk to me about a 4-page letter they received from a 20-year-old white girl about how racist I am. And they were talking, and I'm like, it was laughable because you're going, guys, well, I've worked here 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think I slipped through the cracks in that? You didn't realize that I was a raging racist? And they go, well, no, but like, then what
are we doing?
fuck are we doing here, man? Are you going to do this for every, girl with a ponytail who walks out like stink-faced? Because it's insane. What made me angry is I know who wrote the letter.
Really?
Because
Let's get her.
the night, well, I don't know her by name or anything at all. They wouldn't give me that. But what it was when I came off the stage that night, great set as far as I remember. It was fun. You walk through an aisle it's lined with booths. So you're seeing some people's backs, some people are facing.
Yeah.
You kind of just beeline it through there and figure the most you got to do is like kind of high five the people that are facing you. So a guy that was facing me stood up and he was like, fan or whatever, shook hands, and I try to be nice there. That means a lot to me. So I'm genuinely like, I'm like, oh, thank you, man. Thank you so much. It's so cool of you. And then a girl behind him was turned with her hands extended. And so just in the succession, I go, thank you so much. That's so cool. And she goes, you're a fucking racist. Do you know that? And I went, what? And, but my legs are already walking.
Yeah.
And she goes, you're a fucking, and then pulled her hand away like gross.
Don't touch me, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, well, this is like, I'm not going to make a scene in the club. I go, oh, let me go outside. She's going to say something outside, and then we'll make her look like a buffoon. And she came out and just, did the angry ponytail swing, walked, didn't say anything, and left. And no one thought about it again. Sherrod Small was calling me a racist outside, hilarious, and just kept yelling that over and over again.
Just yelling at you.
Yeah, just a black guy yelling, Jay, you is racist. and it was just like, it went away, I thought, and then 3 days later, they called me in.
And did you have
they dropped it. They literally said it by the end of the conversation. They were like, "This was dumb to bring you in." I think they're just frazzled.
Yeah, of course.
Because
It's scary.
Louis came in the front door, and then there's like protesters.
Yeah. Were there protesters?
Yeah, but it was like two fat ladies from somewhere, just like with like homemade signs, and then but it just a business gets like wound up over that.
Yeah, sure. It's scary.
no.
It's scary to them.
What if they say our chicken fingers are bad?
Yeah, yeah.
Also, what's next?
Was it one
talking
joke or a
about
set?
Huh?
Was it one joke? You think that you know what I mean? For
What
her
did you say
Oh,
that
they
was
told me.
racist?
I thought it was crazy. What I think happened, what they said was, I was talking about a hotel, and I said a Mexican lady has to clean it in the morning. That benign and whatever. Well, factual, quite honestly. But it wasn't even. It was that what I think it was. Because I thought it was just this.
Yeah.
I thought there was someone was going to say their anger was about this, but I think they just found something beyond what I said. I made a joke about a hotel room, and I said something about I always said stay at Trump Tower Hotel. Someone said they were staying at Trump Tower Hotels, and I go, you guys should write like jizz messages all over the wall and everything, and like Trump, you fascist scumbag, whatever. And the crowd started clapping. Mm-hmm. And I don't do politics at all. I don't give a shit. And I was like, don't fucking clap. I'm not leading a charge. And I go, I voted for Trump. How about that? I go, is it still funny what I said? Just assume I voted for Trump, and now tell me if the joke was funny. You know, and I didn't vote for Trump. I don't give a shit about it. But like, the point is just being like, I think saying that even as a joke makes her just go like, well, this guy's a monster. For even saying it's like, I didn't vote for Trump. I didn't like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not a Trump supporter of any way, but I just like, I also at the same time, like, it doesn't infiltrate my comedy at all.
Right.
So circumstantially saying that one thing, I think is what wound her up.
Damn.
I mean, because me just going, I was like, don't clap for.
But it's also fun for
nonsense
someone like her to, you know, they walk around with these feelings, and then to have these feelings, and then have somewhere to something to target. Because you like, if you're like, you know, she's mad about whatever, and then it's like, that's where to put my energy. That fucking guy who now I know his name and like, I can write a four-page letter. It's impressive.
That's a lot.
It's a lot of
handwritten or typed?
I think handwritten.
Jesus.
Wow, pen to paper.
Cursive.
Cool.
I mean,
Jesus.
Wow, I don't even teach that anymore.
Quentin Tarantino over here, writing the whole thing out.
So crazy.
Retarded.
And
For people.
also, let's say here's what kind of. I don't mind if you're SJW, if you're whatever, but like, let's say you were the world's most racist comedian, Jay Oakerson, Big Jay Oakerson, the most racist. And
That'd be a good drop for later.
World's most racist.
Like, okay, so what? Don't you have and the audience laughs. Let's say the audience laughs and you do well. Like, okay, like, why can't everybody just coexist? The racists of the world, the SJWs of the world, the woke, the not, like.
Just because the thing is, if someone's a racist, like
you don't have to do business with them. Let them
but I'm
fucking
just saying that, like, what's inside of them, like brewing, will not function as a comic.
Right.
100%.
That's what I mean. Was almost
100%.
When Tosh went through that thing where they were like, rape apologist, and it's the bummer is Bill Cosby fucked this up for everybody. Because my real belief would be, you think Daniel Tosh somehow slipped through the cracks as a pro-rape person? You just never found out to that one day he had to explode on stage like that.
Right.
You know? Like, doubtful. Did you see the?
Wait, but before you go on to your thought, the thought you just said is so true, that the audience senses real hate. The audience will not laugh if they sense you have real animosity or real hate in your heart. You cannot deliver the joke.
Yeah.
It's not a joke if it's like
But
if
they
you
can
mean
tell,
these things.
dude.
Sure.
They read it. But sorry, go ahead. Just to make that point to the audience.
I was gonna say, did you see when all that was happening? I think Sam Morril and Tosh both had the shit come down them for rape jokes or whatever. And they were using the term rape comic, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, right.
Law and Order SVU with Jonathan Silverman did an episode of like the rape comic thing.
Oh yeah, and they
did you watch it at all? Ever?
Was it?
First of all,
Jeff?
the
Jeff
cop
play it. Did Jeff play it on SVU?
No, Jonathan Silverman.
Oh, Jonathan Silverman. Okay.
Yeah, from Weekend at Bernie's was the piece of shit comic. They had him at the comic strip in New York. The opening scene is him doing stand up. It's, I mean, quote unquote stand up with the SVU cops are in the front row for some reason. Probably not a good audience for comedy in general because they're all wearing their guns and like pissed in the front row before he even gets on. And then he goes on and they have a guy doing jokes like, hey, you know, if you buy her a lobster dinner and she starts saying no, you could just take it, right? Rape her, huh? And they're the only 4 human beings in the world that are going like, why is everyone cheering and like they're raising the fucking roof of this place. And they're going so nuts for these nonsensical, no punchline jokes.
Just rape her.
And then the idea is that night, 2 guys who leave the show are so inspired by his words, they rape a girl. And then it's like,
That's the episode?
Is he responsible for that? And then they do whittle down to at very least, no, he's not responsible for that. Is what the court case says. However, little side where they pull from the headlines and then add a little extra.
Yeah.
The comic is in fact himself also a rapist. Like then after that they were like, well, we got to get him on something. Like maybe he'll rape one of us if we go undercover. And he just did.
He just did.
Just tried to, And they're like,
awesome.
This is why you make jokes about it because you're. And I've never tweeted out at anything like that ever. It's usually dates or something funny if I can. I was just like, that was the most irresponsible thing I've ever seen in network do. That's really the only thing you're putting out there of this kind of story is like, yeah, he incites rape and is a rapist.
I mean, I guess it could be a little Cosby wink, right? You know?
I think it was before Cosby.
Oh, really?
I do, yeah. I mean, not before the obviously overall.
Yeah.
Like what's going on with this guy,
His
but like before
decades of raping, you mean?
Yeah, his decades of just
50
nailing
years
it.
of just fucking.
Even I thought it wasn't going to end.
I'm in my 80s and I'm right.
Oh, you just watched a highlight from your mom's house. And if you want to see more, just watch one of these videos or highlights here and definitely subscribe here. That way you can be kept abreast of all the brand new. Yes, I said the word, Tom. Don't judge me with your eyes.
Try it out.